World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Yana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
Hello, and welcome once again to another Tuesday where we do what we do every single Tuesday, which is give you these gold nuggets that are going to help you get to that next understanding when it comes to your credit. Your credit is a valuable tool. It is a valuable resource that some of us really haven't grasped the concept of, or how it works and what is necessary by the creditors, by the banks, by all of these institutions that are more or less giving that information to those credit reports and compiling that information on you. It's really important. Today's show is going to knock your socks off because we're going to be talking about that one thing that everybody should be talking about. And I'm glad that Congress is finally talking about it when it comes to Facebook. We're going to be talking about algorithms. Algorithms. How do they work? What is in an algorithm? How is this information being used against you? Are algorithms, are they a tool for good, or are they a tool that can be manipulated? And sad to say, so sad to say that it is a tool that can be manipulated. So again, thank you everybody for making the time to come out today, as you always do. I'm so greatly appreciate it. My name is Tyrone Glover, and I am the CEO of Leverage Credit Recovery, and we're going to help you leverage your score. We're going to help you get to that next level. And I'm telling you, every single week, there's always something valuable that you can walk away with. This is a learning opportunity for anyone who wants to see their credit get to that next level. And the only way for that to happen is you're going to have to find someone like myself who's willing to give of their time to make sure that our citizens, meaning those of color, have an understanding of what could potentially be harming them when it comes to their credit. And I'm telling you right now, everything that we have been providing has helped. It has gotten individuals past these situations where we're settling on a 18, 19% for an auto loan, where we're settling on a 24% for a credit card, where we're settling on these outrageous loan opportunities from these so-called banks that help us, which they really don't. This is all for profit. This is all for profit. These are companies that manipulate, deceive by using proprietary algorithms that they will not allow for us because it's going against their business practices. No, I'm sorry. It's going towards their profiteering practices. That's all this is. And the more we know about how to navigate around these things, the better it's going to be for all of us. I'm telling you, this is an opportunity here. And I love to always say this, that in the midst of chaos, there's always opportunity. So we are in the midst of egregious chaos that's going on, not only just in the realm in which I'm talking about, but also in that space that which we don't talk about, which is our politics. And I want to give a special shout out to the Powell family. General Colin Powell passed away yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. And I, as a soldier, I am greatly appreciative of his service. He was definitely an officer and a gentleman. And I always look to those types of figures to lead my life, my understanding. And he, as I stated, was a great person. Never physically got to meet him, but everything that I've always heard and read about him, I know that he had some prior issues with that whole George Bush things and weapons of mass destruction. But again, we're now talking about another weapon of mass destruction, which is algorithms. But Colin Powell, rest in peace, my brother. Can't wait till the day comes where I'm sitting next to you and we're discussing how our country has gone and which direction, and hoping that as we do as a nation continue to follow in those wonderful footsteps that he has laid out for us. So my condolences to the Powell family, and let's move on. All right, so algorithms, how have they impacted? How have they hurt? What have they done to prevent us from being able to move in that realm in which we should be moving? So what are algorithms, and are they being used to cause harm? Well, I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly what is happening. Bottom line, that is exactly what is happening. Algorithms are taking the space in which a person would have been making these decisions. And this is not something that, again, they thought, it's going to help consumers. And I don't understand why the regulators now all of a sudden they want to dive into and find out, what are these algorithms? You knew prior to, when you gave this business the understanding of getting into the business, that they were going to use these tools to deceive, and they've been using them to deceive. So are algorithms being used to cause harm? Yes, they are. And it's sad to say. In the financial realm, I'm not speaking about other realms. I'm speaking specifically about the financial realm. Are these algorithms being used to create harm in the space where we like to call individuals of color? They are being used for that purpose, and we have to find better ways of being able to identify those issues and address those issues with our regulators, whether that be the CFPB, which is the Consumer Financial Protections Bureau, whether that be the FTC, which is the Fair Trade Commission, or whether that be what we addressed here in our states. The states have the same understandings that the feds have, and we need to start addressing it. Start addressing it locally, start addressing it statewide, and equally start addressing it with the feds. If we have this paper trail of data that we can use to show the manipulation and show that algorithms are not working for the vast majority, then we might be able to change some of this stuff. We might be able to move that needle. But onesies and twosies like myself, it's not going to happen. Even if I get 30, 40, 50 people, there's a possibility that it might happen there. But can you imagine if we had the masses? The masses are the ones that are being harmed by these algorithms. The masses. It's not the onesies and twosies. It's the masses. If we coalesced around each other and we had a unified front to address it, we don't need Congress to address this. We don't need our local politicians to address it. What you need is someone like myself who can help millions, thousands, I'll go thousands to hundreds of thousands to millions of consumers. If we stood together strong enough, because the masses is what could change these horrible decisions that are being made about everyone out there who has a credit score. If you are 0, you don't have a credit score, that means you're not using credit. If you are in that 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, I guarantee you there are already some issues within that credit profile. And what I'm going to show you today, you're going to be able to probably identify some of that. And if you do, again, need some assistance, please do not hesitate. Please do not, because all you're doing is preventing yourself, your loved ones, those who you call my nearest and dearest, you're preventing them from having the opportunities that all of us should have, which is fairness and equity when it comes to reporting our data. Just that simple. All right, an algorithm is the list of instructions and rules which a computer needs to do to complete the task. My apologies. Algorithms are everything we do. That's it. Algorithms are in everything we do. But for those that aren't included towards math and programming, the term algorithm is less than clear. So again, it's not just anything to do with math. It has a lot to do with a lot of these programs that compile data. All right, it's data. They're taking that data and they're throwing it all together, and they allow for a system to kick out results. I spoke to the individual at my FICO, and what he told me, again, blown, boom, mine just popped because of the information that you receive from those who technically, now I don't know if that individual still has that job there, because I'm almost certain, I tell them all the time, don't compromise your job. You're already compromised because you're not doing, or your company's not doing what it should be doing. My FICO sells its proprietary information to Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, and they don't even monitor what they do with that information. They don't even monitor it. So next week, we're going to be talking about monitoring services and why we should not be using them. Yes, I said it, why we should not be using monitoring services. Keep that money in your pocket. The information that we're going to be using is we're going to be using it strictly from annualcreditreport.com. Just letting you know, we're going to be changing in the manner in which we monitor, or we allow for monitoring services to get our money. These monitoring services have absolutely zero power. And all we're doing is giving them our money for data that they themselves have allowed to be corrupted. Just that simple. We've got to get better at understanding who and what is manipulating our information. Primarily, again, individuals of color. In fact, the joke runs that developers who use the word algorithm when they don't want to explain what they've done. Just that simple. When you don't want to explain something, you throw a word out there where somebody go, oh, okay, yeah, that seems like a word of importance. So you might have heard the term before, even used it. But what is an algorithm exactly? An algorithm is, in essence, algorithms are simply a series of instructions that are followed step by step to do something useful or solve a problem. You can consider a cake recipe an algorithm for making a cake. For example, here you are, vanilla cake from scratch. That is an algorithm. Very simple. It's instructions of what you have to do to make a product that you again can put out there to somebody who is now ready to receive that information. Whether it's correct or whether it's wrong. I'm sure this cake recipe is probably right. It's a simple algorithm. But when it comes to the profiteering of information, this cake recipe, you can't profit really off of that. You can get a good cake out of it. But if I can make billions of dollars like Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian by manipulating algorithms to better serve, obviously, those who are my real clients, which is Bank of America, Chase, lenders, borrowers, things of that nature that can take that information and push it back into a system that would ultimately determine whether or not you are a worthy consumer of credit or if you are a consumer that's not worthy of credit. The majority of us are worthy of credit. We're being manipulated by algorithms. I'm telling you it now as I sit here and breathe. We're being manipulated by algorithms. And Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian all know that what they're doing is questionable. But CFPB, as I said earlier, the Fair Trade Commission, as I said earlier, they're allowing this. Yes, they are. They're allowing it. Our regulators are allowing these multi-billion-dollar companies to manipulate and won't even do nothing about it. Now, you clearly have heard that Facebook is now feeling the backlash of its algorithms. Why? Because they're only hurting young girls? When credit has been manipulated by those algorithms, and these are millions of people being harmed. Why isn't Congress so up in arms about that? Which they should be. And they have the reports after report after report after report after report that they have compiled on every single one of these CEOs who had to go down to Congress and testify as to why. They've gotten a slap on the wrist by Congress, as we all know these businesses do, and they go right back out and they do the exact same thing. I'm appalled. I'm taken back by it, and that's why I'm so adamant about making sure that you, as a consumer, you understand the importance of collecting your data, putting it in some form of a spreadsheet, keeping that data month to month to month to month to month, because if you don't have it, what good is no data going to do for you? You have to have this information. And if you are anyone like myself who wants to see our consumers, who wants to see our individuals grow financially, well, you're going to have to start doing what we haven't been doing before. And I can make it so easy for you. It's just that simple. These learning programs are designed exactly for the consumer. We're not selling anything. We're not pawning off anything. We are giving it to you raw as I possibly can give it to you, because I need you to start taking this serious. If you start taking it serious, start applying the principles, I'm telling you right now, you'll see those increases. Not only will you see those increases, we'll be able to financially hold these companies accountable for their egregious years and years and years and years and years and decades of egregious abuse of us consumers. When are we going to do it, folks? When? Next pandemic? We've had an opportunity while we have been sitting at home to reevaluate our financial circumstances, and I can guarantee you, millions of you have decided the job that I was working for is crap. It's not paying enough. It doesn't give me no benefits. Doesn't do anything for me. The government that I thought was on my side clearly is crap. And I'm talking about both parties, Democrats as well as Republicans. Democrats are too feckless. They can't even get their heads out of their rectums because of the fact that they're too busy infighting. I talked about it last week, Sinema and Manchin. They're not Democrats. They're obstructioners. That's what they are. They don't really care about their constituents because they primarily live in Republican districts. Well, those Republican districts are feeling the same crunch as Democratic districts. But if they really cared about the population in a whole, they would say, hey, let's go ahead and pass these. Seems like it's a big number. Well, this is where the problem is. Everybody focuses on a number and not what is compiling the number. And this is the same thing with algorithms. You're focused on a number and not what compiles that number. Well, you need to start knowing about the information with which makes up that number. Just that simple. All right, so this is a pretty cool breakdown right here. This one was really one of my favorites because it gave me that category, characteristics, attributes, and point that you can lose. Okay, lose. All right, lose. And this is the biggest part of this understanding. This is the biggest study ever. Real people mortgage data showing that predictive tools used to approve and reject loans are less accurate for minorities. Okay, again, biggest study ever about mortgages. All right, in the primary, we don't even, as low income or poor or middle class, you're not even in this category. So this study has pretty much a lot not even to do with you, but it just highlights the egregious nature of algorithms and why we need to make sure that this information is being done in the most effective way that helps all consumers. Just that simple, all of us. But look at this payment history. Number of months since most recent derogatory public record. All right, so this is a payment history. No public records. You're supposed to technically have 75 points, 0 to 5. All right, so overall, you got to think about it in this capacity. Overall, 850 is every single month. That's what you get every single month, 850. And from there, they're going to start taking off. This is the algorithm working. It's working, it's working, it's working, it's working, it's working. It's pulling that information based on, again, how Equifax had asked My FICO, or they asked Vantage, which is the other scoring platform that's out there. They asked them to, they gave it out to them and they said, okay, we need to have this address, and we need to have this address, and we need to have this address. Okay, put all the information in, and as we already know, it's going to kick back out some results. But if that information is only there to hinder, well, here's how they make that happen for themselves. All right, so again, no public records. You have nothing. That's an automatic 75 points. You're good. You got that. Boom. All right, so this 35 points adds up to your payment history is compiled of 10 points. 10 points. So excuse me, payment history, my apologies. Let me rephrase that. Is compiled of 35 points. All right, outstanding debt is compiled of 30 points. This is resulting back to that wheel that we talk about all the time. You got 5 categories on that wheel, and those are the 5 categories that we're referring to. All right, so again, it's really important. And you lose these points on a month-to-month basis. It's like you get a speeding ticket, and every time you get a speeding ticket, they're not going to wipe off the first speeding ticket. They're going to keep adding to it. So you paid $25 for the first speeding ticket. That second speeding ticket, they tacked on the $25 from the first speeding ticket, and they've added it to now the second speeding ticket. So now you're up to $50. And every single month, they're going to use that information to take from you. Again, think about that for a second. They're using every single month that you had some negative information, they're using that negative information against you. So that doesn't allow for your credit score to go up. It might allow for it to go up marginally. And I bet you anything, if all of you were to go back and look at your credit scores from a month to month to month to month basis and look at what you went up versus if you did anything negative, what you went down, you'd be surprised. You'd be shocked. All right, outstanding debt. How much do you owe? No revolving trades, 30 points. All right, so the average balance on your revolving trades, $0.55. So I mean, I should be getting, if I bring it down to 0, 1 to 99, 65. All right, so clearly if I'm leaving too large of a balance, clearly that means I won't get that full understanding. But I should be getting something of an understanding. And clearly you can see that that's not happening here. I'm telling you right now, you might not be able to identify it right this second based on the information that I'm giving you, but I tell you, if you were to, again, track your credit month to month to month to month to month, you will see exactly what I'm highlighting here. We already know that the biases, based data and biased algorithms screw automatic decisions, making it a way that disadvantages low-income and minority groups. Okay? Already, we know this. They even know this. For example, software used by banks to predict whether or not someone will pay back credit card debt typically favors wealthier white applicants. Many researchers and a slew of startups are trying to fix the problem by making sure algorithms are more fair. That's all it is. Fair. We need equity within this reporting understanding. Equity and equality to create the fair understanding that every consumer should have. You should never, ever see minimal increases, but huge decreases when you do something negative. There should be a counterbalance to the same. But I guarantee you, if you go back and look at your credit report, you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. Credit history length. All right, how long have I had credit? All right, number of months. So clearly, the more months you have, the greater the impact is going to be. The less you have, and they've even changed the laws on that. Now, if you go out and get a new credit card, they're going to deduct, they're going to take away some of your years of service. Or, well, not necessarily years of service, but you could say that, but the credit history length, they're going to snatch that away. Again, why should you be penalized for getting another credit understanding that you have already shown that you're good and you meet your credit terms and conditions? Why should you be penalized? It's only to enrich these greedy, harmful financial institutions that use proprietary information that they will not tell us, or they will not tell Congress why that needs to be proprietary to even begin with. It's not going to impact their business. It's not going to impact their business at all. We've created a monopoly when it comes to, a monopoly of 3 companies. Only 3. I wish we had this as a public option, which it should be. No company should have the information that is going to determine whether or not I'm a worthy person. It should be public. It should be a public institution that is making sure that fairness and equity is within the reporting of our credit. All right, pursuit of new credit. Again, number of inquiries in the past 6 months. Now they're talking about 6 months. So if you had 0 in 6 months, that's 70 points. If you've had 1 in 6 months, you're looking 1 in 6 months, you're looking at 60. I've stopped applying for credit. I'm now doing what we have instructed all of our consumers to do, which is apply for secured credit. But be careful when you're applying for secured credit as well, because a lot of these companies, again, they're using the same algorithms. So you might be thinking, oh, I'm going to get this secured credit card, and then all of a sudden you're not seeing the bang for your buck. Well, it lies in the algorithm. That's why you're not seeing the bang for your buck. And you're seeing a lot of these now online places now offering. There's a lot more products today than there was 5 years ago or even 10 years ago. There's a lot more financial product that is being offered by these banks in a secured manner, which is, again, that is a plus, because a secured means I'm putting the money towards that particular item. And that particular item is going to operate just like I was getting it from a regular bank at their terms and conditions. Now, there are some terms and conditions when it comes to a secured card. Don't get me wrong. All right. But you are the one who's putting that money up front. And if you meet the terms and conditions, some of those secured cards will actually reward you by increasing your limit and keeping you on that positive track of reporting on a regular basis. But as I stated, they're using the same algorithms that manipulate and deceive consumers. So it's really important that you start compiling, putting this data onto a spreadsheet, and then we as a citizenship come together and we use our skills, we use our data to combat these egregious overreaches when it comes to Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. It's just that simple. If we start now, if we start today, well, how about not today? I'll give you some time to think about it. How about next Tuesday? All right. How about next Tuesday? We put something in action. This is my call to action for everybody who's viewing today. And as I always say, thank you. Thank you for taking the time or making the time, because this is what I want from individuals. Make that time. Get out there, make that time, because I'm telling you, the gold nuggets that you're going to be able to walk away with, they're only going to increase your ability, your opportunities to gain financially. Because I said it last week, you're not going to see that increase come from your employer. It's not. They might have raised the minimum wage to $15 in some states, but federally it's still at $7.25. Federally, until that part gets enacted, you're still going to be in a position where you not are receiving any more extra income. So how do I manage and how do I make that income grow? You're going to make it grow through how you manage your credit. Because if you can get a loan or if you can get a financial product at 1 and 2 and 3% versus getting it at 10, 15, 18, 20, 24%, oh, there's your increase already. There's your money making opportunity right there, by making sure that your credit data is correct, and also equally making sure that whatever it is that you're looking to get as a credit opportunity, that it's in the lowest possible percentage range known to man. 0 would be clearly the best, no question about it, but 1 and 2 is perfectly fine as well. I know all of you see those qualified lease E commercials that always pop up. Qualified lease E, qualified lease E, qualified lease E. Mercedes-Benz, BMWs for $325. A $325 payment for a $60,000, $70,000 vehicle, oh, that's doable. That's doable on anyone's income. On anyone's income. BMW could be selling a slew of BMWs. Mercedes could be selling a slew of Mercedes. Ford could be selling a slew of Fords. Chrysler could be selling a slew of Chryslers. Banks could be giving out loans like crazy if there was fairness in the reporting, if there were fairness within the way algorithms are making these decisions. Credit mix. Again, making sure that you have a balance of credit understandings. Now, clearly, a lot of us will never have a mortgage. So that means the one item that should be being reported is our what? Rent. Not even on there. Not even a criteria. Why would they not want low income, middle class individuals to be able to report their rent? Why? Oh, maybe it's because they don't want that. Sounds kind of odd. We should be thinking about these things, folks. So we don't have a mortgage. So that's one category gone. Auto loans, that's a category. Some of us do have vehicles, which is great, again, but are you getting them at 1 and 2 and 3%? Or are you getting them at 15, 18, 24%? An $800 car loan is not a win. That's just a default waiting to happen. Okay? So we got mortgage, we got autos, we got secured cards, we got your regular bank cards, we got your store cards with no logos, you got loans. So there's a variety of different products that make up that credit mix. And clearly, the less you have, the less you're receiving. All right? So the more you have, but again, I just said, if you're applying too much, not getting the product, it's still going to have a negative impact. So really, it's a double-edged sword that really only benefits the individual or the institution that is issuing you credit. So you can already see in this particular item that I'm presenting to you right now that it already goes against you. So how are algorithms working towards you, which I've already said in the beginning? They're not. They're there to make sure that the industry is profiteering off of your misunderstandings of how your credit works. And we're allowing algorithms to do exactly that. We're not questioning them. We're just looking at our score and going, "Ooh, I wonder why my score is so low. Ooh, I never see my score go up. Ooh, this is crazy." Well, it is crazy. But we have all the power within ourselves to change it. If we as a community come together and use the resources that we have. All right, so here's a good breakdown. The biggest ever study of real-world credit data showing alarming differences in credit approval between minorities and majority groups is not just down to bias, but to the fact that majority and low-income groups have less data in their credit histories. Just that simple. Less data in that credit histories. And there's a breakdown of your credit scores. How is credit scores calculated? So that chart that we previously saw, this one here, only now breaks down this, or it puts it into more of a better understanding. Not a better understanding, it's just more or less it's telling you what that 35% entails. It entails those previous items, what the capacity, your utilization, what it entails. So this whole wheel is 100, but it's broken down each part. The payment history is broken down into how much each item should be given or granted to you to increase that score. Or obviously, if you do something negative, it will take away from that. But clearly, these two sections right here, if you do these two sections well, you're going to you should automatically see an increase if you do these two sections well, according to our understanding. But again, I'm telling you that the algorithm is going to manipulate. It's not even going to allow for you to get these two sections in the manner in which you are trying to get these two sections in. It's not even going to do that. It's not even going to allow for you to get the full 65 points. This is how this algorithm manipulates and keeps consumers in a horrible financial understanding when it comes to their credit. Payment history, which we already know. got to pay on time. Capacity, got to bring down that utilization. Length of history, making sure that we have substantial length of history. New credit, not applying for every time a promotion pops up on the TV screen. And obviously our credit mix having a fine balance within that credit mix. What does your credit score say about you? Clearly we know 550 is in the low category. 551 starts to bring it into that fair category. And you're still not where you need to be. It's just bringing you into that category. 551 is not a fair category. It's still, you still need some assistance, but it puts you in the middle all the way up to 720. And I've already said 728 for everyone is what you should be striving for. 728. That's going to break down barriers. That's going to break down so many structures that have been erected by algorithms. It's going to put you in a whole new financial realm that you probably never thought that you would get into. But it's so easy to do if we as a group, if we as a community come together. I'm talking about individuals of color, and I'm going to include our Anglo-Saxons, those poor and middle-class Anglo-Saxons that equally had the exact same amount of time that we've had since this pandemic to reevaluate their financial circumstances. They know that the jobs that they've been working at have not paid off. I had a friend, or not me myself personally, but a friend of mine told me about a friend that they have been working for 12 years and have never had a pay increase. 12 years and have never had a pay increase. That for me blows my mind. I would never work for a company knowing that everything around me every single year or every single, well, just take this today into consideration. We got ships sitting in ports that have not been offloaded, but yet prices of everything is going through the roof. Why? Is it because they can't get those items to the stores? Is it because businesses won't pay employees decent wages so that they can deliver these items to the store? Is it because stores won't pay a decent wage to keep the consumers happy by making sure the shelves are stocked? What is the reason behind why these things are not happening? What is the reason? What could be the reason why these things are not coming to fruition? The only reason why is because we have not done what we needed to do to make sure that things are going accordingly. Once we do that, guess who it will be? My apologies, I had to plug in a charger. All right, so with that being said, again, reevaluate your circumstance. Take a hard look at how you're going to be using your money for this upcoming holiday season. That's all I'm asking you to do. Take some time, make some time, because algorithms are not helping us. They're hurting us. And these companies know exactly what they're doing to keep us in harm's way. Let's stop being the test dummies. We have to stop. We have to stop. And as soon as we do, as soon as we start combating, as soon as we start giving back what they're giving to us, oh, then they're going to understand. Oh, these guys are serious. These guys are serious. Let's be serious about our credit. So the implications are stark. Fairer algorithms won't fix the problem. They won't. They won't fix the problem. They won't. This means that the data is used to calculate a credit score, and the credit score is used to make a prediction on loan defaults. Then the prediction will be less precise. It is this lack of precision which leads to inequity, not just biases. All right? It's just that simple. We have to make sure that what's being put out there about us is 100% correct. It's just that simple. It's the algorithm itself that won't fix the problem alone because these companies won't do it. They know that they're making out hand over foot. So we as the citizen is going to have to step up and make sure that whatever is being compiled about me is 100% about me, not based off anything else. And unfortunately, these algorithms use a series of complex data that we can't see or information that's put out there that we don't know nothing about, and it kicks out some score, and we sit there and go, okay, I guess that's right. No, you wouldn't do that with your paycheck. You would be looking at your paycheck wondering, wait a minute, last week or last 2 weeks or last month or however one gets paid, you saw if you worked a certain amount of hours and you did some overtime, you're going to be looking at making sure, look, did that overtime come in? Were my hours correct? Why aren't we doing the exact same thing when it comes to our credit? Which you should. It is really it's a real striking result. Biases and patchy credit records have been hot issues for some time, but this is the first large-scale experiment which looks at loan applications of millions of real consumers. Credit scores squeeze a range of socio-economic data such as employment history, financial records, and purchasing habits into a single number, as well as deciding loan applications. Credit scores are now used to make many life-changing decisions, including decisions about insurance, hiring, and housing. So again, if your score is low, it might have absolutely nothing to do with you. It might have a variety of ranges to do with how that algorithm is evaluating you. So it's overdue time, folks. Just like I said, if you check your pay stub, and I hope you are checking your pay stub, then on a monthly basis, you should be checking your credit data. Stop worrying about the score at this particular moment if you're not in that 720 range. If you're in that 720 range, I would definitely suggest that you should at least every 3 months check your score if you're not doing it on a monthly basis. But those of you who are not at that 728 score, you should be checking your credit score. You should be checking your credit data on a monthly basis. On a monthly basis. And I'm going to tell everybody right now, stop paying for credit monitoring. Stop paying for credit monitoring. Start getting your information from annualcreditreport.com. If you start doing that, I'm telling you now, you're going to see huge increases in the manner in which we are now going to be able to identify the flaws, identify the mistakes in these algorithms, and start making substantial change. And also make sure that you are documenting this. We created a spreadsheet for anybody who wants to have it. Please do not hesitate. Get you one of these spreadsheets free of charge. It allows for you to start compiling the information that we're going to need to make sure that things are more equitable. So algorithms are manipulated, they're compromised, and updated to serve the creditor or lender, not the consumer. It's just that simple. Algorithms are manipulated, compromised, and updated to serve the creditor or lender, not the consumer. To work out any minority or majority group, we've treated differently by consumers and lenders. Data was collected from consumer reports for 50 million autonomized U.S. consumers and tied each of these consumers to a socioeconomic detail taken from a marketing data set. They're proprietary data about lenders who provide them with these loans. One reason why this is the first study of its kind is their data sets are often proprietary, as I said earlier, and not publicly available to researchers. Credit bureaus basically have to pay them a lot of money to do this. All right, so it's clear that this is only being done to benefit creditors and lenders. This has nothing to do with making sure you as a consumer have full access to the credit in which we need full access to. It's just that simple. If we do our homework, if we do our research, which we've done here, we can start getting the benefits that we need. We can start reaping the rewards that are there for us. It's just that simple. And the only way we can do it is as a group, is as a community, is as a family that wants to see change. And I'm not talking about the jingle change. I'm talking about real substantial change in how these things are being reported. That's right. So algorithms are used throughout all areas of IT and computing. They can manipulate and process data and perform calculations or actions in various ways. A great example of algorithm is in actions is with automated software. And again, automated. So that means they program these automated softwares to do what they want them to do for their client. We're not their client. Their client is Equifax. Their client is TransUnion. Their client is Experian. Their client is Bank of America. Their client is T-Mobile. Their client is not us, the individual consumer. Now, they may offer you to get your credit score through them, but again, they're not there to help you. They're there to make sure that you're going to buy into the gimmicks. I saw a commercial yesterday that had me cracking up with John Cena. He's jumping out of an airplane with a cow. A gimmick. Please stop buying into the gimmicks. Automated software. They're using software to keep you in these financial hardships. Okay, for example, one of your creditors' automated task requires that the automated software to take all credit reporting information received by a creditor and put into a spreadsheet. So they're doing their due diligence. To do this, the creditor sets up a series of rules and conditions for the program to follow as, again, an algorithm. So they're going to do what they need to do for their client. You're not their client. So they don't have any responsibility to you to make sure that your credit is going to work towards helping you. But they're going to offer a lot of gimmick products to make you think that they're there for you. They're not there for you. In this instance, the input is every incoming email or whichever situation that this information comes into them. And primarily it's through an email. Each of these emails are put into each step or rule to complete the task. This might include scanning every email. And now how do they get that information? They have to receive it in some form or fashion. So more than likely, it's going to come in an email form. Emails that contain these terms then move to the next step, continue to follow each step to identify and extract the relevant data. The output is the information that placed into a spreadsheet ultimately then becomes your credit score. Once it's sent back to FICO, or if it's sent back to Advantage. And those are the main two. You got the FICO score and you have an Advantage score. And trust me when I tell you, you do not have just 3 scores. You have roughly about 28 scores, and each one of them are different. So why do you have 28 scores? Why? It just seems odd. If I took a test in math, one of my favorite subjects, and that's the subject that I teach in school, if I took a test and the teacher gave me 28 different grades, I'd be looking at that teacher like she had 28 heads, because it wouldn't make no sense. Why? Why do we have to have 28 different scores for one thing? It's a credit score. Unless there was some massive manipulation going on, unless there was some massive compromising going on, unless there was some massive conflict of interest going on. There's all 3 happening. So, noisy data, and experiment with different predictive algorithms to show which credit scores were not simply biased, but noisy, a statistical term for data that can be used to make accurate predictions. Take a majority applicant with a credit score of 620 in a basis system, which might expect the score to always overstate the risk of which applicants, and a more accurate score would be 625. For example, in theory, this base bias could be accounted for via some form of algorithm affirmative action, such as lowering the threshold for approving the majority applicants. Overall, in a nutshell, what they're more or less asking or explaining there is that these scores go up or go down based on fictitious data, noise. It's not even real understanding. It's not even that they're making it off of a biased understanding. They're just using crap. They're putting, as I said, information into these algorithms, selling these algorithms to Equifax TransUnion Experian, updating these algorithms to obviously benefit Equifax TransUnion Experian so that they can go out and send information back to us that does not truly represent what our scores should be. It's really that simple. And we need to raise them hands and start screaming the SOS because there's something clearly wrong here. And if we don't start now, when? When? The next pandemic? The next financial crunch? The next debt ceiling that they threaten us not to pay those bills from previous understandings? Is that when it's going to happen? Is that when we start raising the alarm? We have to start now. We have to start, as I stated, not today. I'm going to give you some time, but we have to start pretty soon. Next week, I hope to have more individuals really asking those questions. Is algorithm harming me or helping me? All right, so this is just a continuation about that noise data. The difference may seem suitable, but it matters because the inaccuracies come from noise in the data rather than biases in the way the data is used. It cannot be fixed by making better algorithms. Cannot. To measure how big the problem is, one has to build their own simulator for a creditor or lender's predictions, tools, and estimate what would have to happen if borderline applicants who have been accepted or rejected become the inaccurate scores had their decisions reversed. So that more or less is saying, if those scores were wrong and they had those decisions reversed, would they potentially have received that item? Based on, again, information that is fake. Yes, hate to say it. An algorithm has been designed with a billion, I'm going to use that just as a hypothetical number, but situations that do not even address who you are. They address what that business wants as an outcome for being able to grant you a loan or be able to grant you conditions that are fair, that help you with building that credit. It's just that simple. Everyone who wants a copy of this PowerPoint, please let me know. I'd be more than happy to equally send this off to you as well. But it just covers so much information. And I know we only have short amounts of time to really convey a lot of this information, but I'm always open to anyone who wants to review the show at a later time frame with me. Please just hit me up with an email at leveragecreditrecovery.com or go to the website, fill out one of our meet the CEOs or make an appointment at leveragecreditrecovery.com or just shoot me a text or an email. Shoot me a text or give me a phone call at 805-428-9424. All right, so there are righting the wrong. Fixing the problem won't be easy. There are many reasons why majority groups have noisy credit data. They are compounded social consequences, which certain communities may not seek traditional credit because the distrust of banking institutions, which makes perfect sense. I've known too many people who said, oh, no, I'm not using credit. That don't make no sense. It doesn't. Makes absolutely no sense. Oh, no, I don't use banks. Makes no sense. Makes no sense. Makes no sense. These institutions are there for reasons, and they're there to help you get to that next level. And if you don't use them because of the fear of, and it's perfectly understandable, well, let us start addressing the fears, which we're doing today, to help you get into a place of an understanding where you yourself can start looking at your data, start compiling the information that we as an institution that helps consumers can start taking that data to the regulators, to the law firms, to the providers of credit data, and start really identifying, are you helping us or are you hurting us? Because I can tell you right now, they are helping their client, and we are not their client. The solutions are not simple because they must address so many different bad policies and practices. So unless we start compiling the data, those policies and practices are still going to be out there, and they're still going to be doing that harm. Reversing generations of harm will require a myriad solutions, including new banking regulations and investments in minority communities. All right, so reversing generations of harm will require myriad solutions, all right, including new banking regulations and investments in minority communities. I'm an investment in minority communities because I do this on a regular basis. I'm an investment. I have invested time, energy, blood, sweat, tears in making sure that our community has an individual that's there to sit you down and walk you through step by step by step by step by step by step. It's up to you, and I say it all the time. You have to want it more than those providing it to you. And once you do, you'll start seeing the rewards. All right, so here's that breakdown. Step one of an algorithm. How does it work? It asks for the input. Once it gets the input, step two, it referring to the algorithm. It's going to now take that information. They're going to jumble it up. They're going to put it all into what they want for their client to give them the desirable outcome. And then it's going to put that information out there. That's your score. And you know nothing about how that score was put together. So I ask you, how much do you understand about the algorithms which generate your credit score? If you can answer that question successfully, please send me an email. If you do not know, send me an email anyway, because that means we need to have a sit down. When the vision is clear, strategy is easy. So Leverage Credit Recovery, we help individuals recover from past credit reporting failures, created primarily by the credit reporting industry of deception, lenders of profiteering manipulation, and uneducated consumers with poor money management. This has nothing to do with the larger picture of, oh my God, I'm such a bad consumer. No, it doesn't. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the fact that we have not had the proper education. We have not been able to manage our money properly with the experience that normally comes with proper education. So again, everyone who feels that they have not met, these are now the times to get better. So call Tyrone. Thank you, everybody, for making the time. I'm super always impressed with everyone who makes that time to come out and show us that love. For us, this is it's just one of the most impressive things that we do every Tuesday. Leverage Credit Recovery is the email.com. LeverageCreditRecovery@gmail.com is the email. My apologies. LeverageCreditRecovery.com is the website. And again, I can be reached at 805-428-9424. Always there. Always appreciate you. America, be safe. Social distance. Wear that mask. Do what you must do to keep yourself safe. We are always here for you. We appreciate you, America. Be safe.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.